So, in this video, we're talking about the first time I ever surfed. And before I go into the details of the first time I ever surfed, the backstory is my housemate and a chap I bought a property with, two friends before I settled down with my current wife, was asking me or encouraging me to try surfing for probably 8 to 10 years. Kept saying, I'll love it. He was showing me videos on YouTube, on TV. He was talking about it, and I was just ignoring him, saying, it looks boring. I'm not very good at swimming, blah, 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 blah. And in the meantime, over that kind of period, he did, I did learn to swim a little bit. I'm not an amazingly strong swimmer, but I learned a little bit. And this brings us on to my first ever time surfing. So we go to on my stag I'm just about to get married. A couple of months before I got married, we are on my stag, and or maybe just before the stag, he was my best man, and he wasn't my best man. My brother was my best man, but in terms of organizing the stag, it was his responsibility. And he said, "Why don't we try surfing?" So I said, "Okay, we'll give it a go," not realizing that the night before would be mental. We were in Portugal, in Lisbon, and the night before we went out to dinner. I had a strange story there where we were in a restaurant in center of Lisbon, and my friends, Chris, a black friend, came to sit down with us, and he came a little bit late because he wasn't staying in the same hotel as us, and they wouldn't allow him to sit down, which I was really shocked by, and I'm still shocked by it. Blatant racism. I know it was racism because half an hour later, new people came to the party who were white, and there were suddenly chairs, and he was saying there was no chairs. But anyway, that happened at about 6 p.m. that evening. We ate, we met up with everybody, and we went drinking, and it was great. It was great fun. It was a warm evening, and we were out having fun probably until 4 a.m. And I'd forgotten that we were getting up the next day for surfing, and we got up at 7. I was still a little bit drunk, which was crazy. It was my stag after all. And there was maybe 8 of us on the stag, something like that. And only me, my good friend, and my now brother-in-law made it to surfing. So that's everyone else was sleeping in. They were hungover. For whatever reason, they didn't come. So that's the context. There's just 3 of us. There's supposed to be 8. We've booked the surfing. We get on we have to get into town and get a bus, and then we're transported to the beach. It's about a 30-minute drive to the beach. I'm nervous. I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling a bit drunk still. I've got a massive headache. I'm worried, really worried, because I'm not a strong swimmer. I'm still not a strong swimmer. So I must admit that I'm working on that. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, like this is, excuse my language, but this could be bad. I could drown. I was literally thinking I could drown. And I said to my mate, I really can't swim. I really don't think this is going to work out. And he said, don't worry, you should be able to stand up, and they're not going to take you out on big waves. But anyway, I was feeling like this was going to be terrible and something was going to go really badly wrong. Anyway, we get there, and I think my friend said, just have a go, just take part. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take part. So we get to the beach, and it's long. It is super long. We do a warm up. I'm exhausted already. It's 11 a.m. It's boiling. It's already about 25 degrees. We're putting our wetsuits. It's even hotter. We're taking the board and we're walking along the beach to get to the waves. And we're walking like, feels like an eternity. It's probably like 15-minute walk. But with a long surfboard, you're not fit. And I'm exhausted. I'm hungover. I'm still a little bit tipsy or whatever from the drinking the night before. And we get out, and I want to say it was incredible. I really enjoyed it. I caught almost every single wave that I went for. And I stood up, I think, on 2 or 3 of the waves. By the end, I had no little energy. I wasn't standing up. I was just like kneeling, but I was still catching the waves and riding them. And I was absolutely loving it. I didn't last the whole of the session just because I didn't have the energy. I was catching so many waves. I was having to come in and out, and it was a bit exhausting. But I think I managed maybe 40 minutes of the hour session or hour and 15 session. And I was hooked. As soon as I got out of the water and went to change, I was chatting to the surfers, saying how much I loved it and just trying to learn more about surfing. And I think I maybe made a little bit of a fool of myself in a way, certainly to some of these surfers, maybe who've been Portuguese surfers. They're very good at surfing in Portugal. Everyone's pretty good. It's like people are okay at football in the UK, grow up playing football. Most people grow up surfing if they live near the coast in Portugal. A lot of people do anyway, quite common. So anyway, I'm there gushing, saying how much I'm loving it, thinking I've done really well. All I'm basically doing is going straight to the edge of to the sand, and I've caught one or two waves. The rest I'm basically on my knees, but still I'm absolutely loving it. Didn't get much love from the surfers there, but still, that was my first time surfing on my stag, hungover, exhausted. But I caught a few standing up and maybe three, maybe four, I don't know. And the rest between standing up and on my knees. And I was loving it, absolutely loving it. And that was my first time surfing. And why was I good? I was the best in my group by far. And in fact, I was better than some people that have been surfing like quite a number of years. Maybe they were trying to turn or I don't know, but like I was catching a lot of waves. I must have caught like 10 waves. And as it was my first time, for me, I thought that catching it on your knees was catching a waves. I didn't know the difference. And actually, if I had the fitness, I would have been able to stand up on all of them, mainly down to fitness. Why was I able to do that? I think I was able to do that primarily because when I was younger, I used to skateboard. I would do street skateboarding. There wasn't a lot of parks or skate parks in my time. There was none, in fact. It took many years. I grew up in Birmingham, the second city of the UK. And I think there was just one opened a skate park that you need to pay for when I was maybe 15. And I just didn't really enjoy ramp skating. And actually, ramp skating has more to do with surfing than street skating because on ramps, you're going up and down, a bit like going up and down waves. But anyway, I didn't do that. I did street skateboarding, but I think the balance allowed me to understand how it worked. And yeah, I really enjoyed my first time surfing in Portugal. Like Portugal's great. You can surf up and down the coast. The weather's amazing. People are friendly. The waves are most days there are waves. It's quite a surprise if there aren't waves, or at least that's been my experience surfing on and off in Portugal. So yeah, it's fantastic. I could recommend it to anybody. I don't think you need to have a skateboarding background to enjoy surfing. I think it should be for everybody. It's so good for your mental health. I felt so refreshed. I didn't have a headache or a hangover at all. I felt just amazing afterwards. And that's really been consistent with every single time I've actually surfed. I've had that feeling of just refreshness and nothing else matters. And you just focus on surfing, which was great. So that's my first time. So I hope you'd like this video about me talking about the first time I've ever surfed and how I got into it and the context. And if you're interested, I've got other videos about surfing, about my journey as a 40-year-old man learning to surf on this channel. So make sure to check those out.